had over $300,000 in accounts receivable at that point. And so, no joke, we called 30 of our 35 general contractors and fired them. Said, we're not working for you guys anymore. We went and bought a box truck the next day and started running service. Like that was the decision maker. The structure of it. It's like, as a contractor, this is 100% from the contractor side. I have to fight to get the job. Like, you beat me up to get my price to where you want it, and then I got to fight to get you to pay me. We have 22 trucks on the road, and out of those 22 trucks, 12 of those guys are licensed Colorado plumbers. I hired a business coach day one to help me build my service company the right way. Our first apprentice we put through the program, he's going to test for his residential license on July 7th, and he's on pace to make about $130,000 this year as a plumber. So, most companies put on their wall their org chart for right now. We have our 5-year org chart so people can see the positions that will come in the future. And so that's definitely a thing that we do. And so now when people come there, they can see where they're at, and then they can see where they could potentially grow to.
Welcome to the Colorado Springs Business Podcast, where we discuss business principles and provide real-life insight into the lives of everyday business owners and entrepreneurs. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe or leave a review wherever you might be listening. Now, let's talk business.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We have a very special guest today. We have Levi Torres with High Five Plumbing. Welcome to the show, man.
Hello. Yes, thank you, Marcus. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate being here. I'm excited to share my story with you guys.
Yeah, man. We're super excited to talk about your story. Tell us a little bit more about High Five Plumbing, just from like a 50,000 foot view, who you guys are, where do you serve, so on and so forth.
Yeah, definitely. So High Five Plumbing is a residential service plumbing company in the Denver metro area. We have 3 locations currently. We're in Golden, Littleton, and Denver. And yeah, we service about 97% residential service customers. We do about 3% commercial service. Yeah. But we really don't do any new construction or remodels. It's mostly 100% service.
That's awesome. So what got you started in all this stuff?
So yeah, my dad. Cool. My dad still owns and operates a plumbing company in Southern Colorado. I was born and raised in Alamosa, wow. And I worked there with him kind of as a very head manager for him until I was about 27 years old. When I hit 27 years old, I kind of, if you're familiar with the area, you kind of max out, at that area, you know what I mean? So I knew that if I ever wanted to get a little bit further, I would have to go somewhere else. So I moved up to Denver, got a job with one of the most progressive companies in the state. And within 2 years, I was one of their top technicians. And so kind of the same thing happened where then it was at a point where, dang, I wanted a little more. The company I worked for had already mentioned that they don't hire managers within house. Like they hire from out of house, and you have to had a college degree in order to be one of their managers. And so like I kind of knew that wasn't going to be a future for me. So in May of 2012, we just I quit that company, and me and my wife started High Five Plumbing.
Man, so 11 years. That's pretty impressive, man. And you sound like even when you're with this prominent company in Denver, that you had some experience at least like running a plumbing company with your dad. Yeah. So did you come in with that lens of like, okay, like I know how to plumb, but I also know how to like do operations too? Well,
and that was the nice thing is like when I first moved up here to Denver, it was I had mostly done new construction and not a lot of actual true service work, because out in the rural areas, service work isn't quite the same. It's a lot of time and material. It's a lot of you just know your person, and so you're going to call the same person. So when I moved up to Denver and got a true experience of service, it was a little bit different because like I was used to just like time and material and just whatever time it took me and, working all hours of the night. There was no real structure to it. But once I got a taste of service and saw how it was so customer service focused, like really like if you want to be good in the service industry, you have to 100% put the customer's experience in front of everything else. And so when I realized I was really good at that, it made it then when I became one of their top technicians, it then made it easy to break off and start my own company because of my experience with my dad. I had never done any of the like bills or paying the bills for my dad, but I had done a lot of the invoicing, the estimating. So I was confident in that end, but I did get a rude awakening on the business side of it once I started. So.
What was that rude awakening?
Well, once again, I was a great plumber, and most plumbers, when they think I'm a great plumber, I'm gonna start a business. You just don't realize that, it's only really you doing plumbing for a short period of time. And most plumbing companies, they never truly grow because they don't ever get past that point to where they can only handle what they can handle. So once I started Hi-Fi Plumbing, and very quickly, I was killing it with plumbing, and we started to generate a ton of work, but then naturally the paperwork on the back end started to pile up. So then my wife naturally just had to get involved. She never wanted to be involved, but she was like, sweet, I'm going to get involved. Let's start to grow this thing. And yeah, like I said, that was really a kind of a big awakening. Was dang, there's a lot more to it than just doing plumbing. I got to now know how to answer the phones, and I got to know how to type, and I got to know how to, it's just there's so much stuff that went into it. And that was really just a shocker, but it was a great learning curve, So from 2012 to 2015, we were mostly new construction remodel. That's all we focused on, because when I left the service industry to start Hi-Fi Plumbing, I went back to what I was comfortable with, and that's what I did with my dad, which was remodels, and went back to his same structure. Time and Material kind of did that same thing, and it wasn't until the end of 2015 we sat down, me and my wife and a couple of our team, and we were planning our end of the year Christmas party. And they were kind of like, we can't do that. We don't have money for that. And I'm like, what do you mean we don't have money for that? We've been killing it, the plumbing end of it once again. Yeah, but nobody paid us. We had a ton of contractors that owed us a ton of money. In the new construction remodel, it's net 30. You don't get paid till 30 days after the job's done. And we had some jobs that were 120 days past due. People hadn't been paying us. We had over $300,000 in accounts receivable at that point. And so, no joke, January 3rd, we called 30 of our 35 general contractors and fired them. Said, we're not working for you guys anymore. And we went and bought a box truck the next day and started running service. That was the decision maker. I was not going to fight the new construction remodel industry. You can make good money in it, but I just don't like the structure of it. It's as a contractor, this is 100% from the contractor side. I have to fight to get the job. You beat me up to get my price to where you want it, and then I got to fight to get you to pay me. It just doesn't make sense. The whole concept behind it didn't make sense to me. So once I got burnt, that was the first time that I felt like I was on the receiving end of something bad in my business. I made a change right then and there. I said, nope, we're going to go to service to where now we get paid when we're done. The second we are done, the customer gives us their credit card and we're done for that.
Yeah.
At that point.
That's good. You had the insight to see that and know what you wanted to do, and then not get caught up in that, because you would have been slaving, or you would have been your business probably would have failed because you wouldn't have not wanted to do it. It didn't seem like it was something that would have been fulfilling to you. And that reminded me of our last guest. He runs an air duct cleaning company. He recently talked about, someone told him about this mobilization fee, where when it comes to the bigger contracts, you can charge a mobilization fee where you get paid up front so you can pay your employees and all that stuff. But that's a side note. We're a business podcast. We like to talk about business.
Right.
But that's so cool that you knew to focus just on residential. Now, that was actually going to be one of my questions. Why are you only 3% of that
commercial?
Yeah. So that's cool that you knew that. I like that.
Yeah. And so once again, the reason why we focused heavily on the residential side of service is because
I hate to cut Levi off and explain that awesome thing that he's about to explain, but first we have to talk about our sponsors who make this show possible. Our first sponsor is Recon Marketing, co-owned by none other than the co-host of this show, Marcus Alvarado. Recon Marketing is a full-service marketing company that helps you with all your marketing needs, whether it's SEO, web design, or helping you advertise your company. They can do the job, and they do a darn good job at doing it. So that's Recon Marketing. Check Recon Marketing out. So our next sponsor is Planet Duct. Planet Duct is a air duct cleaning company here in southern Colorado. Planet Duct helps you breathe that fresh mountain air. Don't have dirty ducts. Let Planet Duct clean them and help you breathe better. Help you with all that cleaning needs when it comes to your air ducts. That's Planet Duct at planetduct.com. Check them out and schedule a call and let them know that we sent you from the Colorado Springs Business Podcast. The next sponsor is the People's Tiny House Festival. The event just happened. We were in Loveland. It was a great turnout. And I'm literally recording this the day after we finished. So we will have more info on that later on, but that's the People's Tiny House Festival. Check them out at People's Fest on Instagram and People's Tiny House Festival. Search that up and check them out, their website and everything, to see what that's all about. Simple living for all. And then the final sponsor is none other than me, the person who's talking to you. Veeman Visuals is my company, a video production company, and we talk about some video production in this episode because Levi actually has hired an in-house videographer, and he breaks down some of the things he has his videographer do that helps his company move forward. It helps him stand out amongst all the other plumbers in the world in Colorado. So now let's get back to the show.
In 2016, when we started to switch to service, I did something that I think I recommend everybody doing is I hired a business coach day one.
Nice.
To help me build my service company the right way. I had grown High Five organically to that point, and we were successful. But after 3 years of me growing it, I was now in that position I was in, where then for the next 90 days, I had to fight to get money to pay my bills even, you know what I'm saying? And so I hired a business coach. So I work with that's called the Blue Collar Success Group.
Nice.
It's actually a trades training company. They help build service companies. They work with all trades. And so I hired them right away to help me. And so they were the ones who kind of guided me, and they didn't tell me to do residential or commercial, but what I found in commercial service, it's very similar. Like very rarely the person you're talking to is the decision maker. So now we were going out to jobs, giving estimates, and then having to go back a second time because they could never get approval the first trip. And so it just wasn't efficient, and it wasn't as profitable as just going to a residential home where the customer can make their decision right then and there. So we still do a lot of commercial just because the size we are and our brand is very recognizable. But we do not market for commercial at all. Like we don't say we do commercial.
For sure. But if a deal comes your way, then
yeah, we have a lot. All of our guys. We have 22 trucks on the road, and out of those 22 trucks, 12 of those guys are licensed Colorado plumbers, and then the other ones have the time. We just, a lot of plumbers they're scared to take the test. That's really what it comes down to. So that's a big part of what we pride ourselves on is we help our guys advance, because believe it or not, if you get that piece of paper, it doesn't make you a good plumber, but it makes everybody think you're a good plumber, and that's really why we want to get everybody to get that license for the state of Colorado.
Nice.
Let's talk about company culture, because I know that's a big thing. We did some research on you guys, and we were like, okay, what makes High Five so much different? We saw all the reviews that you guys had, which, holy cow, like 2,000 plus reviews on Google. But tell us a little bit more about your guys' company culture. You don't even call it core values, right?
Yeah, they're called vital values.
Yep.
So High Five, we really, once again, the reason how we got the culture and where we kind of created it was from my past. I was in multi-level marketing, network marketing, and a lot of people don't like it. Some people love it, but believe it or not, it causes you to build a team, and you have to get your team to get behind you. And if you can't get your team to get behind you, then you're not going to have success. And so a lot of the places where I worked, it was very much if you do this, then we'll give you this. And so we wanted to change it to where it's, we'll give you this, now prove to us that we made the right decision. And so we really started to switch that. So we started giving insurances much quicker. We give paid time off much faster. Like everything was just given to them a little bit quicker. That's what we first started to do. But then it came back to our mission. Our mission is to come together as more than individuals to create a positive impact on our team, clients, and community, one High Five at a time. And so it's structured that way on purpose because our team is the first thing. Like if I don't have the best team at High Five, then I'm not going to be able to go get those 2,000 reviews because they're reviewing that person. They're not reviewing High Five. They're reviewing that person. And so we have to have the best team. And in order to have the best team, you have to put a lot of time and energy into your team. And so we definitely do. We invest 6 hours of training a week into every single one of our people. We have 3 training days a week. So like we are constantly, just constantly putting our time into our people. That's the first way we create that culture. But then also our vital values, you have to show up. You know what I mean? You can't put vital values and mission statements on the walls and then not live by them. You know what I'm saying? And so really it was us showing that we were going to do it that way. We also have our High Five Cares program, which is our give back program that creates a huge culture shift because pretty much every month we choose a different nonprofit that we feature. We volunteer there as a team. We shout them out on social media. We put them on our website. But what it really did is it caused our team to see that, like, man, we are in such a good spot. Like, really, like, as bad as your day was this morning, is if your stomach hurt, your hands hurt, you were sore from your job yesterday, there are so many people who are in worse situations. And so, like, I think a combination of everything we do, between the personal development we do with our team, the community outreach we do to show that we are actually trying to make the community better. It's not just making money for High Five. It really does create people to realize, like, when you come to High Five, you're going to be a part of this thing. It's not just a job. So we do have a unique amount of kind of person who comes to work for us.
I love it. And I saw, like, you did like a MTV Cribs walkthrough of the shop, and you have this wall, and this wall has like the handprints of folks.
Yep.
Talk a little bit more about that. What's that all about?
So the hand wall was something, obviously High Five Plumbing, we're big with high fives. Like, we take pictures with all of our customers when we leave their house. We have thousands of high five pictures just of customers smiling and taking pictures of our technicians. And so naturally, we always tell people when you come to work at High Five Plumbing, when you even come to interview at High Five Plumbing, we actually give you a tour before you even sit down for the interview, because we want to make sure you know what you're getting into. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we want to know, you're going to be volunteering, and that there's goals that you're going to be setting, and we're going to do personal development. And so really the hand wall was created because, we would hire a person, and they would come to work for us for 2 weeks, say, and then they were like, nah, this ain't for me, and they'd be out the door, which is fine. That happens sometimes. But they were still part of what we wanted to happen. And so we created the hand wall, which the second somebody's hired, we paint their hand, slap it up on the wall, they sign it. So then that way, no matter what, if they're there for a day or there for 10 years, they were part of the mission. Their hand is on that wall. And it's just really a way to show, like, hey, like, you're not just a number here. Like, even if you're here for just a day or just 2 days, you're on that permanent wall, your hand's there. It will never go away. So it's pretty cool. It's a cool little thing we do where everybody gets excited to sign their hand. And once again, it's just it's more than plumbing. Then that's what we tell everybody. We're good at plumbing. That's our name, High Five Plumbing. We better be good at plumbing. You got to be good at all the other stuff to grow a business and make it to where it's wanted and desired in the community.
That's awesome, man. And I see that cross on your chest. Is there any Christian values that are instilled in High Five Plumbing as well?
Oh, 100%. Like, we're pretty open with our Christian beliefs as the owners, and so, yes, there is 100%. A lot of our values, one of our values is have faith. It's not what you'd think. It's not based on religion. It's believe that the work you put in today will give you an outcome. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but with faith eventually. So you can see how it's just like, you don't have to have faith in religion. You just got to have faith. You got to know that you're doing something for an outcome. And so that's how we interpret it and put our kind of religious values into our business. But yeah, 100%. We invite our team to church with us. We invited the entire team to Easter dinner with us. It's just what it is. The people who don't like it say no. They know that we're going to do it. As long as they know up front and they're comfortable with that, then it doesn't create any kind of a culture shift.
Yeah, I love that. And before we were talking on the episode, or before the camera started rolling, rather, we talked about your son. You have a son who's a sophomore who's playing basketball. It sounds like it might be a full circle moment for you because, I mean, obviously you have a son who's probably seeing his dad doing the same thing that your dad did for you, right?
Yep.
How has that whole aspect been for you? I'm sure it's been full circle.
Yeah, it's actually been really interesting because I always said I wanted to teach my kids how to be plumbers. That's what I wanted to be. So I actually have an 18-year-old daughter who just graduated high school. Oh, wow. She's actually a full-time dispatcher for us now at High Five. And so, like, I wanted to teach my son how to do plumbing, but it's a little different because when I was younger and my dad was teaching me, my dad was in the field because we were in a smaller town. Mm-hmm. So now me teaching Quentin plumbing is almost not possible because I'm not in the field. I mean, I haven't actually ran a plumbing call in the field probably 5 years. And so I have to put him with my team. And so now I have to be confident that my team I have in place is going to be training and coaching my son properly. So once again, it goes back to making sure you have good people on your team.
Yeah, I love that. One cool thing that we noticed too when we were doing some research on you is that you had like a lot of YouTube videos out. You got a good amount of subscribers, especially for like a typical plumbing company. Andrew being, the video guy, he runs a professional video production company, Visuals. How did that start? Do you have your own camera equipment? Do you have like a team that helps you out? Like,
yeah. So
what was the foresight with that? That's awesome.
Yeah. So it goes back to, once again, foresight. Like when we started to do service, we would go to these. It comes down to implementation. Like, everybody goes to these business seminars and all these things, and they give you a ton of good information, but nobody ever does anything with it. And so when we first started service in 2016, I went to this marketing event within the first month of us being a service company, and all they talked about was that video was going to be the future. Like, you had to have video, you had to have video, you had to have video. So we were like, well, we better start recording video. Like, it was just that simple. So that's why you see how much content we have. And so it evolved. So it just was us with an iPhone. And then we did that for a while to then where we got so busy to where I'm like, dang, we need to hire a videographer. So now we actually have a full-time videographer on site who just is like paparazzi every morning. Just films the guys getting their parts, films meetings, films the call takers. Just so we have endless amounts of video, so we can just pump out video now. And so once again, like, we listened. The people who people told us were professionals said, you better have videos. You're going to need videos to stand aside from everybody else. And we started doing it, and now it's proving fact. Like, our videos and our content that we have is helping us grow at an organic pace faster than most.
Yeah. And the reason for that is because it allows people to get to know you guys on a deeper level without ever meeting you guys. You're not just a web page. Like, you have faces to the names, you have personality to the names as well too. Yeah.
You know, we do a lot of, like I said, we are a very systematized company. So when you come to work at Hi-Fi Plumbing, there's an operations handbook for every position. Like, if you come in as a technician, then here's your handbook. As long as you follow this, dude, you're going to be successful here. You know, and as long as you call taker, as long as you do this, you're going to do well here. So we've even gotten to the point where all of our systems are videoized. So now, like, if a technician has a question, he can go to his handbook on his iPad and watch a video on how to perform something. And so it's made our onboarding and our ability to train plumbers. We have an apprentice program right now where we can take somebody with zero plumbing knowledge, and with 18 months, we can have them running 70% of every plumbing call that we get on the board.
Nice.
So we have one apprentice right now. Our first apprentice who we put through the program, he's going to test for his residential license on July 7th, and he's on pace to make about $130,000 this year as a plumber.
Wow.
And 2 years ago, he did not know an ounce about plumbing. And so we have a very well-documented apprentice program where from, you know, the first 0 to 8 months you work for us, you're in the warehouse. You're just learning materials. You're learning parts. You're learning where the parts come from, the names of the parts. Then after that, you move to a field apprentice where you're just digging holes and putting pipe in and stuff like that. And like I said, in about 18 months, we can get you to be installing plumbing, and our installer plumbers make about $120,000 a year. So we are now starting to recruit people right out of high school to get into that program. We have a fresh, just out of high schooler that just started the beginning of June. So it's exciting to kind of see, like, you know, I talk to business owners all the time, and, we can't find good people. We can't find good people. But that's because they're only looking for a rating, a 7 and above plumber. When here at High Five, I can have a plumber that only has a 2 skill set, and I can place him where he needs to in our program so he can learn to become a 10 plumber.
But they have ambition though, probably.
Exactly. They can see the steps, and that's what it comes down to. You got to be able to paint the vision for people, because plumbing's hard, and being an apprentice is hard. And if you can't paint the picture of, hey, in this time frame is when you're not going to have to be there, then they're going to just assume that they're always going to be there. And then that's what causes people to leave the trades. Yeah. They say, oh, that sucked. I was a plumber for a year, and that was the worst year of my life. Well, that's because they did all the hard work. They did all the stuff nobody else wanted to do, and nobody painted the picture of that someday this is where you're going to be. And that's what High Five does, is paint the vision for people coming into the trades.
That's awesome.
So
how important is it because I think it's like we live in a world where a lot of the younger kids, they want to be like YouTubers and things of that nature. But how important do you think it is to, like, one, like, let a kid know that the trades are out there and they pay super well?
Yep.
I think a lot of kids just don't think that you can make $120,000 after 18 months of hard work.
Yeah, and you know, this is kind of a controversial subject to me, because the bottom line is I think the school program has to do better at putting in front of kids. You know, for a long time there, like when I graduated high school, I graduated in 2003. If you didn't go to college, you were going to be a failure. Like, that was that was it. Like, if you did not go to college, you were not going to make it. And so I was not the typical, like, you know, everybody always, I hate this stigma that plumbers get, that plumbers were not good in school, that's why they became plumbers. It's not the truth. Like, I had a 3.8 grade point average. I could have went to any college I went to. I saw what plumbing could do for me. Yeah. And I saw that I was good at it and I could do it well. And so that's why I went to CU Boulder for a semester and dropped out after a semester and went right back to plumbing. But I think that's what has to happen, is there has to be a overall different look on the trades, as not the people who weren't smart, the people who couldn't figure out how to get to college, because that's still what a lot of people say. is, oh, if you can't go to college and enter the trades. And that's just not the case. Like, and so now it gets looked at as a downgraded profession because of kind of that stigma that's been created over the years. And so I think that's where it has to start, is everybody has to realize that you can go make great money as a plumber. And what's awesome about the trades company, any trades, is it gives you endless options, because you can go be an employee for somebody and make great money and live a great life. Or you can go start your own thing. Like, and there's not a lot of professions that's doable. And like, if you're a teacher, you can go be a great teacher, but are you going to start your own school? Most of the time not, you know what I'm saying? So the trades is one of those very few ones where like you can go become a great plumber, and then it does open the door for you to be able to open your own company, because you can always just go do the plumbing yourself. Once again, you may not grow, but you can have your own time, your own schedule.
And that's not for everyone either.
Exactly. Once again, it's not for everybody. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's why 70% of most trade companies fell within 3 years.
Yeah.
And then even more, another 10% fell after 5, because they don't comprehend that. Like I said, they think that it's just the plumbing, and it's not. Like I said, that's the difference. But I like I said, we've been really making a big push for getting in front of high schoolers now. Nice. Trying to get it out to younger kids, showing them the cool tools, the cool technology we use, and the cameras and the location ability, and showing that, hey, this is a lot of technology that we work with too. You get an iPad and an iPhone that you work on every day.
That's awesome. Yeah. So speaking of which, how do you make that leap? Because you kind of hit on it a second ago. A lot of entrepreneurs end up working in their business instead of on their business, right? We hear that all the time. You've made it to a point where now you're the guy in the office. You said you haven't done a call in 5 years, which is awesome. You've been able to nourish and create a team. But how was that transition? Was it very challenging for you at first?
I mean, the key is I had a coach.
Yeah.
Like I had a business. Yeah. I had somebody who was telling me how to do it. So I listened, I implemented, because he was my coach. I was paying them to give me the direction. And there's a lot of the times that I know people who pay for coaches and then they fight with their coach. Well, that's not going to work for me. That doesn't work in my market.
Not coachable.
Once again. And so then now it just doesn't make sense. Why are you doing it? And so I was open book. Like, you telling me to do it, shoot, if I would have never done it that way, I don't care. I'm going to give it a try, because I want to make sure I'm successful. And so then I would try it and it wouldn't work. And then I'd make some edits to make it my way, and then it would work. And so that's the key, is just like, don't be scared to ask for help. Like, I always tell people all the time, like, our social medias, Instagram, Facebook, we're on TikTok, LinkedIn, Snapchat. I mean, we're on all of them. Reach out to us. Like, if you have a question about what we do, like, we're an open book. I think a lot of people in the trades are scared to share their ideas. Like, they're scared to do it. And that's why, if you guys look at our social media, it's very much like a reality TV show. It's a lot of our people. It's a lot of what it feels like to work for High Five. But that's because we're not scared for people to see our ideas. We're not scared for people to know our people, because we know our people don't want to leave us. We believe they're going to want to stay for us. So even if people are recruiting them, we think they're going to stay. And then the reality TV portion, like, our social media is very much just it's all about people. It's all about just what it would be like to live at High Five and to be here with us and to be part of our team. But yeah, we just created, like I said, it's weird. We have so much stuff. I'm just thinking about like our marketing team. Like I said, we have a videographer. We have a community outreach coordinator who manages all of our CARES program. We have our marketing director. And so, like, these are all people who are making sure that our name is being told in a good light every day. And so when you're starting and you're trying to make that transition, you don't have those people, right? You have to still do that. Like, you have to still go network. Like, because if you're not networking, then nobody's going to hear your cool story and all the cool stuff you've done. And so, like, it's intimidating for a lot of people sometimes when they come and see our shop or see what we've built. But when they hear the story of, like, that was me, I had to do that. I had to go to the networking events. I mean, I would work from 7 to 7, and then I would type estimates and do paperwork until midnight. And it's just what you had to do sometimes. And so that transition was really hard, was getting to the point, because I knew where I wanted to go. I had my coaches telling me what I had to do, was actually the time. It takes time. You have to be patient and realize that you're not going to just get to having managers overnight, because if you get to having managers overnight, then you're probably not going to have the systems and processes in place for them to do a good job anyways. And so that's really, like, what was the biggest struggle, I think, was for me, was I saw where I wanted to go. I just trying to get there faster than what the universe wanted me to. That was my biggest struggle.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's so cool. And I think it's kind of funny because I think if you think about personalities and stuff like that, you would think the biggest personalities probably come from the trades anyways. So I'm sure you have some really good personalities that come from your company. Yeah. And they've been able to be showcased, right?
Yeah, no, we have a lot of so one other cool thing we do is we actually, you see my cool hat, my shirt. Yeah. We actually have a clothing website called High Five Colorado. And the way that came about was because customers would say, hey, well, that's a cool hoodie or a cool hat. Where do I get one? And so we were like, before you know it, we were just sending people hats and stuff. And we were like, well, what if we just made a site where people could buy it and all the profits just go back to the nonprofit for the month? So like we just started making a site. So we've actually sold High Five gear in 22 different states. So there's people in Florida, New York, Michigan, Washington that have bought High Five gear, that are out there wearing our gear, that don't work for us, that are just out there wearing our gear. And so
building awareness before you get there.
Once again, and so we started to do that with our clients, like we give stickers out at every job. We have different stickers. And if a client has their sticker on their car or their water bottle or their computer, then they get a $50 discount. So once again, it's just, it's building our brand. You know what I mean? It's doing things like that to help us get noticed, you know what I mean? And anybody can do that. Size, it doesn't matter. You can be a one-man shop and you can still be building your brand that same way. It's about having confidence in your brand, having confidence in what you're trying to do. And that's what I think High Five has, is we get our team behind what we're trying to do. We want to make a difference in the community. That's why we make it a conscious effort to volunteer, to spotlight, to show that out. But I think a lot of people are, like you said, are so much in the day-to-day that they can't step away from that. But if you hire a coach or if you ask for help, if you get somebody who's been there and gone through it, then it's actually easier than you think. It's funny to say that, but when you have somebody who's done it, then they can make it to where you can comprehend and get through it a little bit easier. So 100% reach out to a coach. Like if you're struggling, if you're at a point in your business, I 100% have a consultation with a coach of some sort.
Like not just any coach though, but a proven coach.
Exactly.
Okay.
So. I highly suggest interviewing coaches. You got to find the right feel, because you may find one program that has worked for a person, but the way they train may not match with your culture. So like in the trades, there's probably 15, 20 well-known training companies in the trades. We went with the blue collar, which was not the most well-known one, but it's because their vital values aligned with my vital values. And so I was confident now that I knew that they were going to be training along the same values that I train on. There's some places that had vital values that didn't align with mine. And so then I knew that then how could I work with them and 100% lean into what they're trying to do if I didn't believe in what their values were. And so you got to interview coaches. You got to know, do they have values? If your coach doesn't have values, then how are they going to coach you to build values? You know what I'm saying? And so that's where you got to do definitely interview process on coaches.
Okay, sweet. I'm curious of how you got connected with the videographer and what that relationship looks like for you, because I'm a video guy myself.
Yeah, so the thing is it's kind of hard to hire a marketing person for a plumbing company, because they don't think, like when you're trying to hire a videographer and you're like, hey, so we're a plumbing company and we want you to come make videos. They're like, am I going to be in the field plumbing? Like, do I have to go like clean sewer lines and record? No. And so it really is just a matter of, we do look for a lot of sports videographers, people who do sporting events, because we want that same feel, highlight videos. All of our technicians wear baseball jerseys in the field. So it just fits. All of our business cards are baseball cards. So nice. It fits. So we look for videographers in the sports realm. And then once they come in and we can get them there for an interview, it's pretty sold, because they see what we're trying to do and they see like, dang, I get to create any videos I want. And so like, for example, one video that our videographer gets to create that's really cool is every time we go to a customer's home, we send them what we call a dispatch video. It's a video of their technician. It's like a highlight video. So when you go to like a Rockies game, that first little 10-second clip before they come up to bat, they play a song, right? Their song they choose. And then they play like a highlight video of that person. It's the same thing. Like It's a 30-second clip of the technician introducing himself and like highlight videos of him getting in and out of his truck. And so the videographer gets to create that all day. He gets to create baseball cards for new hires, because that's what our business cards are. And so they see why we're different than any other plumbing company. And then it creates excitement, because it's what you want to hear is that if you can get people who come into your business and they say, dang, I've never seen that before, that's the best thing. When you interview somebody and they say, dang, I've never seen that before, and you're interviewing them for a video content or community outreach or even a technician, then that person is now going to want to see why they've never seen that before and that's why they want to be a part of your team.
Are they contracted or are they on?
No, they work for us. They're 100% in-house. They're on the payroll. They get an hourly. They get bonuses for content they push out.
Nice.
They get if he makes a TikTok and we get over 5,000 views, he gets a bonus. For every followers we have like for every followers we increase every month, he gets a bonus. So yeah, it's a cool little way to. But yeah, all of our people are in-house. We have all of our marketing teams in-house, all of our warehouses in-house. All our call takers, everybody is employed by High Five Plumbing.
I love that. That's awesome. Do you have operation plan for videographers as well too, or a way for them to grow as well?
Oh, 100%. Like we aren't like the company I worked for. We promote within 100%. So we know that the size we are right now is not going to be the size we are in 3 years. So we're going to need triple the managers I have right now. And our team sees that because I actually on our wall, we have our 5-year org chart. So, most companies put on their wall, their org chart for right now. We have our 5-year org chart so people can see the positions that will come in the future. And so that's definitely a thing that we do. And so now when people come there, they can see where they're at and then they can see where they could potentially grow to in the next 5 years.
It's like a skill tree almost.
Exactly. It's a skill tree. And so that's how a videographer can come in and see, dang, I'm here, but I know that eventually we're going to have multiple videographers that are going to have to be being managed. And then I know that eventually there's going to have to be somebody managing this locations department. And then, like I said, our goal is to we're hoping to be a national company in the next 2 years. And so now they're going to know, well, dang, who's going to go run the marketing department in Arizona or Florida? So they see the growth. They see how it's not just taking pictures and making videos for High Five right now. That's what I'm doing right now, but I can be there.
That's awesome.
So
yeah. So when you talk about expanding nationally, does that mean like franchise or keeping it corporate, or how does that look like?
So as of right now, we don't have anything set right now.
Okay.
We
just
really,
the vision.
Exactly, the vision. We wanted to have proof of concept in Colorado.
Yeah.
Like prove that we could open another shop and have it work. And so we've done that. We feel our systems will work. And so I don't believe we'll go the franchise model. I hate to say never but I've never been a big fan of the franchise model because of the retention rate. Most people who sign up to be a franchise, you only get about 10% that renew once their first franchise contract's up. That's not good rates. And so most likely we're going to try to keep it more of an organic type of thing. Like we'll have one corporate headquarter. They'll answer to the corporate headquarter. They'll just be like an arm, a branch essentially of High Five instead of a privately owned High Five.
That's awesome.
So that's the rough draft for now, but once again, we'll see how it goes. I've already have multiple people interested in other states. I get probably once a quarter, somebody's calling me, hey, can I start a High Five in this state? Because even here in town in Denver, people think we're already a franchise because the way we operate. But we're still just locally owned and operated. So
I could see you expanding down to here before you expand out to other states, probably.
Oh yeah, so like Springs, we already have an office in Littleton, which is far. We're like as far south in Denver as you can get, and so naturally our next progression is we want to get a shop up in the Longmont area, which opens up Loveland, and then eventually we'll be in Springs, which will open up all the way as far south as Fountain, Monument.
Yeah.
We're already serving Castle Rock. But yeah, I think for sure, there's no doubt that the natural growth will come to Springs.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's insane, man. It's so cool to see the growth. So it sounds like you already answered. We normally say what's next, but it sounds like this growth tree, this thing's already proven its model out. I wanted to ask you, I wanted to back up a little bit, Alamosa to Denver. I mean, I don't know where it is on the list for Alamosa, but I know it's one of the smaller towns in Colorado, I would assume. How was that? Like, was that a big shock to you, being from a small town going into a very large, big city?
I would say that I was a city boy that grew up out in the country. Like when I was born and raised down in the San Luis Valley, and but I wanted to be up in Denver every chance I had. Like every summer, I wanted to come up and spend time because I had cousins that lived in Denver, and so I would always come and spend time. And I wanted to spend every minute, and I always wanted to be in the city. And so by default, was then down there, and I worked with my dad, and I had a good job, and that's why I stayed there probably longer than I normally would have. But I think had I not had a career in plumbing, I would have left the smaller town feel for the bigger city feel right away. So I was excited for it. Like I came up here and I was excited to have all the people and all the now now traffic, I'm a little bit, now that I've been up here for 12 years, I'm like, maybe I don't like traffic as much. But,
me neither.
Yeah. So, but no, I was excited for it. So I know a lot of people have like a culture shock, but like I had always wanted it. Like that was my goal, was to leave that area and go to a bigger city. So no, it wasn't too big for me.
Yeah. What about your dad? What does he think now that his son's grown up and done his own plumbing company? How's that?
It's awesome. You know, I throw it so much back to my dad because like he forced me to be a plumber. And I didn't want to be a plumber. I fought it tooth and nail, but like every day I didn't have every time when I was in high school, if I didn't have school or sports, then I had to go to work. Like that was kind of the thing. Like if you don't have a school event or a sport event, then I'm gonna expect you to come and help me at work. And so I always said, I'm not going to become a plumber. I'm not going to become a plumber. But like he registered me as an apprentice when I was 16 years old. He started documenting all my hours for me. So by the time I was 18, I had enough hours to go get my residential plumbing license if I wanted to. And so he made it to where I had a choice. Like he forced me to do it. I fought him tooth and nail, but because he did that, I now had the choice as an 18, 19-year-old to say, dang, I can go to college and gain debt, or I can go make right now $24 an hour at the time, which was 2004, and go do that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go make some money. And because my dad, so yeah, if it wasn't for my dad forcing me to do stuff, I love it. You know, he also, was also cool with my dad is because we lived in such a rural area, you never stayed busy all year doing one thing. So he also owned a construction company. So when we were slow doing plumbing, we built homes. So I also have been, when me and my wife first got married, I actually built the house from the ground up and only borrowed a small amount of money, which set me and my wife up since day one now, because I was able to sell that house in the San Luis Valley that I built for drastically more than I put into it. And then I was able to buy a house in Denver and be ahead. So it's just made it to where I was never behind. And that's all because of what my dad taught me. And so I always give it back to my dad 100%.
Oh, man. And you bought it 12 years ago too in Denver, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably gone up a lot.
Yeah. So, yes, a lot. A drastic lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
This has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else, Andrew, that you have for him? I think we've gone through a lot of
I think
questions.
we've covered most of the bases. Yeah, it's been a great episode. We'll have a lot of good clips coming from this for sure. You can share as well too. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And if anybody, like I said, if anybody wants to hear more of what we do, like we're open. Like I said, reach out to our socials. You can find us Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn are our four most active ones. YouTube we're very active on as well. So just let us know. And like I said, we'll gladly throw ideas around, give you guys ideas of what we've done to help us. But just know that you always got to make it your way. Like I could give everybody my operational handbook and it won't work if you don't have a high five culture. You have to create your culture, your processes, and that's how it's going to work. So.
Yeah. Does everybody get a high five too?
Everybody does, man.
Let's do it, bro. Let's
high
right now.
five.
All right, Andrew, you gotta go over there.
Get up, man.
You gotta close this
out.
out.
Yeah. High five.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, man. This has
guys.
been a great episode. See you guys on the next one.